What's up, guys? Welcome to Off the Reservation, a podcast where we'd like to recognize the true humanitarian and wonderful soul, the lady who risked life and limb to donate her pants to a poor basad in Buffalo in the Yellowstone National Park. I'm Mal.
I'm El.
And I'm that buffalo.
So, Mr. Buffalo, now that we have you here in on our podcast, what would you like to say to that lady? You got any words of wisdom? Anything you'd like to comment on that lady?
That's assault, brother.
I felt like she should have asked for consent before trying to touch my nose. So, and
I just don't understand that. Like, what goes through your head where you're like, hey, I'm gonna go touch this animal, like this wild animal, like.
It's like trying to go and touch like a wild elephant, like
it's like when they like used to try up and like come and touch your hair, Mal. Can I just want to.
I've taken many of pants from women who've tried to touch my hair.
That's not okay. That's
not okay.
No, but it's weird. I remember when we were younger, we used to go. It was up in Indian Market,
yeah.
And it was funny. I was excited because I was like, Malachi would be walking around in the regalia, and he's like dressed to the nines, and he'd be jingling all over the place,
jingling out.
Yeah. And you used to go around and he would take pictures with people, because there was a lot of tourists, a lot of people who were interested. And I was all excited when I got to the age of like walking around with them because I felt like your bodyguard, I was like,
yeah.
I wasn't enforcing anything, unfortunately. Like nobody took me seriously. I was this little kid, but I was like, yeah, it's
well, you were a pretty big
kid.
You like. I remember you and I were like the same height for like a year, and then you like shot up and.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like no, I'm 5'8". You're
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, see, and so
but
you were a force.
But there were these ladies, man, that'd be like, "Oh, can I just touch your hair?" It's like, no.
You're like, I'm underage. I'm only 16.
You're like, I'll do it for a $5.
I mean, I'll tell
do
you.
It for a $5.
Oh my gosh, during that time, so I was doing cross country, so like I don't know,
streamlined body right there.
Yeah, and like
Six
that's
pack and...
It wasn't a 6-pack. It was more like a like just like I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot there.
You were lean.
Yeah. And I remember one of those ladies came up one time, and she's like, because I'm wearing a breechcloth, and so the breechcloth like goes up and under you, cradles everything nicely, and then comes out. And so I'm standing there, and she's like, "Oh, can I take a picture with you?" And it's her and like 3 of her friends, and they're like, I don't know, like 40s, early 40s, and you can tell they've been like drinking a little bit. And so one of them was like, "Hey, what you got under there?" And just like lifts up my breechcloth, and I'm like, "What the heck
I charge extra
problem?
For that."
And see, like that's the thing. That's the thing. Like over these years, has kind of messed with me. Is like because I'm a guy, because everything about me is supposed to be sexualized. Like I'm supposed to be okay with that. When in reality, like in my mind, like it was assault.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like on that same line, like I get it. Mm-hmm. Like.
If that had happened,
it's an event, But if you had done that, like if I had done that to a woman, like I would be charged with something. But because it was an older lady and I was a young guy, it's the beginning of a porno or something like that. Like that's not okay.
Do you guys remember that South Park where it's like the kid and he has a affair with the teacher, and they're like, "Oh, that's horrible," and then like they find out like it was a younger male and an older female teacher, and they're all nice. Like that's like the double standard you're right. I think that
well, in that instance, Mal, you are the buffalo.
Yeah, I was the buffalo.
What you should have done was just taken that lady's pants right there and just ripped them right off,
Well, then we'd both be in the wrong. And 2 wrongs don't make it right.
Well, it does for the buffalo. The actual buffalo.
Yeah, the buffalo, he got away with it. Because, he's the buffalo.
Yeah, he had Pete on his side. Peter was like, "Hey, don't be messing with those animals.
Don't be touching that buffalo."
Well, how are you guys doing? This is we did Zoom last week.
Yeah.
And if you watched it, I'm glad you guys got to see our faces a little bit closer than usual.
Oh yeah.
You know,
you had like a screenshot of me, and I was like, "That's what I look like." Ooh, man. Gotta make some changes.
Yeah,
I gotta rethink some stuff.
I gotta rethink my life.
You know what's funny is like I got into that and I was like, man, I wanna do these editing because Son of Picasso, you do a lot of like image alterations and things like that with your stuff. But for me, like I was like, man, I want to try to get into that. And let's face it, my phone isn't on that level of like special effects. And so I had to go into
like, here's the thing though, like I use like 5 different devices to get the things I need done, right? Because it's just all memory. Some programs are on some computers, and then
gotta find the right filter and the settings.
Yeah, and
if you guys ever have an opportunity to like check out any of his images, you need to like check out his Instagram. Not off the reservation. That's us.
That's us. You could check that out too.
You can definitely go visit that, but it would be like the Son of Picasso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all
we got the handle. We'll put the handle.
Yeah, we got the handles.
Check it out on the screen.
I think one of my favorite latest ones I did was with Putin, like mashed with the Beatles. So like Putin is John Paul and George,
I saw that one.
President Trump is Ringo playing the drums in the back. And it's just funny, you know.
Well, in that case, he's not the walrus.
No.
Just like I'm the buffalo.
And I like doing things like that because it's like, you know, I love politics. I love, you know, giving people food for thought. You know what I mean? With a visual image. And, you know, it's interesting now because you see it start to like really pick up in the, I guess, like the trend pick up in native arts right now. Like you see a lot of like Star Wars mashups with stuff. And I remember when I first started doing those like 6 years ago, like I guess let me start it off. Like I kind of feel like the meaning has been lost because it's like in pop culture so much with native culture. Like when I first started doing it, it was because it was like a way to hide like our discontent with the government, you know, with like natives and the government versus like, you know, natives and the force and, you know, against the empire, you know, there's that whole relationship like that.
Yeah.
And so it was like a way to like hide that emotion and that feeling in pop culture and native work. And people would see it. Oh, it's cool. You know, it's, you know, Dances with Wolves mixed with, you know, like stormtroopers, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was a way to like hide those images in there and that was meanings. And, you know, now you kind of see it on everything. And
well, it's like Andy Warhol, like, you know, he did the original like mashups of like mundane everyday kind of things, and then all of a sudden making it pop, and then pretty soon, you know, I got an app on my phone that can do the exact same thing, you know, and I mean at that point it like once everyone's able to do it with simplicity and ease, like it begins to like lose its original meaning, you know, and you think of like his soup can. The what was it? The tomato soup that
Campbell
he did.
Soup, yeah.
And like when I think of like that image, I mean, it like takes me back to like the idea of the Great Depression. And now people look at it and they're like, "Oh, I can do that. I can put my face in there."
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it obviously over time as things, you know, if you do something great, everyone's gonna start copying it. You know, it's like the first dude that wore Janko jeans, you know, everyone kind of looked at him and was like, what the heck, why do you need such giant jeans? And then pretty soon now everyone's wearing them, and you know, they're no longer the statement of rebellion, or, you know, like
it loses its meaning,
loses its teeth.
Well, let me ask this, because like I'm kind of interested in what you guys think. Like, does art need to have a deeper meaning all the time? You know what I mean?
Ooh, I mean, you're asking like a question that's been asked through the ages.
You know, can art just be something that people enjoy looking at? You know, or is it more of like in that instance where you were talking about, like you started doing something because it had a meaning, and then, you know, now you see it everywhere and it's just like it doesn't have the meaning that you intentionally wanted it to have, does that negate other people's interpretations or other people's riffs off of it? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of think about it as like, I don't know. For me, like, I enjoy art, and I enjoy art in all its forms, and, if something resonates with me, then, I don't, I like it, but I can totally understand where it's like, well, like we were trying to start something and then it gets shanghaied into like, something completely different. And then it's just,
like
then it's just
episode.
Nonsense. Yeah. But then it's just nonsense. You know what I mean? So I could see that aspect of it, but I've also never been, felt like I was, I was doing anything that, I don't know. I guess most of my stuff, I always just do stuff that I enjoy, and it's never really been about like trying to get a message out there necessarily from me, and like the stuff that I do, like my videography and stuff, like for a long time I was just like, I kind of just want to like document stuff and just like, like I had a couple of videos, like when I got my first drone, I was like, I want to show people what a day of fishing is like, and it was kind of cool, like I had my dad out. He was on the lake on his little boat, his inflatable boat, his pontoon boat, and he was out there fishing with my sister. And I was flying the drone around, and it was kind of, like stuff that you don't see, like stuff that you don't get a chance to. Some people don't get a chance to experience, So like for me, that's kind of like where I would go to when I was creating. But it's different for you guys, because you guys are putting stuff out there for people to consume. I don't know. I just feel like it's different. It's different.
I think the idea behind art is subjective to like each individual person. I mean, no two people can look at the same piece of art and go, oh, and feel the same thing. Because you think about like just as much as you can go to any fine art museum. Like you think of any of the art museums in New York. Like I think of like Ferris Bueller, and how he's like, oh, let's go see some beautiful works of art, and they go to, they had that whole montage where they're walking with the kids and seeing everything, and I'm like, that whole scene, like I'm like, oh wow, that's really amazing looking art. One day I'd like to go and see that, but then you go to like Ross, and there's like, screen printed paintings like all over the place, and you can buy them for like anywhere from like $5 to like $20, and it's cheaply made and whatever because it's manufactured.
It's just a duplicate,
but people will still buy it and put it up on their wall, and it doesn't like, does the state of its being therefore dictate its worth? And honestly, I don't think it does, because, I mean, for me, like I make my art pieces, my leather work. I make bow guards and bags and things like that. When I make them with a utilitarian idea. So, like if I make a bow guard and I put metal pieces on it, I'll do like metal plates. And when I put those metal plates on it, I'm thinking, like, what if I go to Walmart and somebody like pulls a knife on me? I can use my metal plates on my bow guard to protect myself, But at the same time, like people will see them at like an art show and be like, that's really cool. The fact that you're like up against the establishment and, trying to push against the ideas of like using precious metals as your art piece, and the simplicity and the industrialization of this bow guard. And I'm like, yeah, that's essentially what my mind where my mind was, the utilitarian aspect of it. But you're putting fancy $50 words to what I was thinking. Yeah. Like I was thinking, I don't want to end up in a bad spot and not be prepared. You were basically saying I'm fighting the man, and I agree with both statements.
You're like, yes. Oh, well, yes, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, as I'm sitting here drinking my Starbucks,
corporate sellout.
This episode brought to you by Starbucks. Not that they're paying us anything, but
we're getting anything.
We're hoping,
Hey, Starbucks, if you're listening,
you know.
Are you pro Starbucks union?
I'm pro Starbucks coffee. It's delicious.
And if a union's what it takes to keep the bucks going,
yeah. I'm saying, you know, like I'm all for people like getting what they're worth.
Yeah. But
at the same time, the guy that gave me my order, I asked for no cheese because I'm lactose intolerant, not because I'm a douchebag. Still put cheese on my sandwich, and I'm like, how hard is it to read the order and say,
is that Starbucks?
Is that Starbucks?
I'm pretty sure all their food is frozen.
It's all frozen, but like I've asked for it before, and it's like, you know, you go to McDonald's, you go to all these places, and I'm always asking because, you know, lactose intolerant. I always ask no cheese, and they're able to like microwave it without any cheese.
See, you know, I guess I'm from the standpoint of I don't go to Starbucks to get food. I like go there for one purpose, to get coffee. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and then if I get something from a place where I'm like, you're not known for this, I'm like, I should have known better. I like put it on myself.
Yeah, so
I'm like,
kind of like, yeah.
It's like going to Dunkin' Donuts and like getting, I don't know.
What, a full breakfast sandwich?
Yeah. Like, and you're like, oh, it was bad. And you're like,
I should just stuck to the donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's the same thing. Like if I take a picture, like, I'm not known for taking pictures, but if I take a picture and it's a picture of myself and not of you on your family vacation, then I look like the idiot, you know? Like, if I take a picture and my finger's over the screen and I hand it back to you and you're like, dude, come on, like, can you take but like, does your decency say go?
See, but I get it, because like the pictures in the Starbucks menu look so good. You're like, I want to.
I'll try that.
Yeah. You know, I suffer from a similar affliction as you. I can't handle dairy, but I don't know. This probably just speaks to like some like the way I grew up and whatever it is. But I feel like I'm just like I try to be so unproblematic with stuff that I'm just like, you know, I'll take it. Don't worry. And,
where you should have gone, your first step was you should have went to Twisters. Like that's
iconic.
Well, you messed up.
Yeah.
You done messed up there.
or Golden Pride. You know, Golden Pride.
Yeah.
Don't you live right down the street from one?
Yes.
Oh. But the issue with Golden Pride here in Albuquerque, they make amazing burritos, but sometimes it's hit or miss.
Too dry.
Yeah, they're dry.
No,
or
I don't
they're
like the
cold.
way they do their hash browns. Their hash browns are always soft and soggy.
But the thing is that you know them well enough because they're so iconic with the Albuquerque.
You know them by their soggy hash browns.
They're either soggy or they're dry.
You could we could do a blind taste test. I've had so many burritos in my life. We could do a blind taste test of all the local burrito joints around here for breakfast burritos, and I could tell you exactly which one was which. You know what I mean?
Lottaburger makes a dope burrito, but it takes forever. You like...
Yeah, you sit there for like 30 minutes.
Well, here's my issue, man. All of these places had really good burritos, and then they started doing these like best burritos in Albuquerque, and everybody started winning, you know, year after year, different places. And then I think they just got complacent, and now their burritos are kind of like it's hit or miss. It's like they're not trying anymore. They've achieved the top awards, and now they're just kind of like, oh, we can just ride on that, you know. And so sometimes it's like if I go to a certain Lottaburger, it's like, nope, this is not a good burrito at all. The hash browns are like overcooked and hard or something. I don't know.
You know what?
Don't even get me started, man.
I take my burrito seriously.
We do.
A burrito game.
Well, because like I think we invented it out here, right? Like,
or at least we've been the most successful with it. You know, as far as like putting that green chili in there, man.
Well, like I mean, other people like not from Albuquerque might think like Chipotle has good burritos, and it's a good burrito.
I have to say I have never eaten at Chipotle.
Me neither,
ever.
actually. I've never eaten Chipotle.
Well, we'll have to go and check it out. But like, that's the thing is like the whole burrito concept is like you know, you want a big burrito, you want a nice like healthy girthy burrito, but at the same time, Chipotle, if you just request like one flour tortilla, that's not enough, man. You need to double it up. But then by the time you're done like putting in all the good fixings and everything, your burrito is like $20.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, man, this ain't worth it. This ain't worth it. And then you dig into it and you're like,
it might have been worth it.
Because then you can get like grilled steak, you can get grilled chicken, and then like grilled, other stuff, like all kinds of grilled meats in your burrito, and then like a big huge piece of like guacamole and sour cream.
See, all that stuff's too fancy for me.
And that's what I'm saying, is it's super fancy. It's the Starbucks of burritos.
See, like I guess I'm just old school. Like Mom made burritos with like literally like ground beef with no seasoning, like cheddar cheese and like some like chopped onions, and threw it in a burrito. I was like, here you go.
Here you go.
Yeah, I've noticed. I don't know if this is something else, but I've noticed a lot of natives don't know seasoning. It's just
salt and pepper.
It's just salt and that's it. Yeah, maybe some pepper. Yeah,
maybe a little bit of pepper.
Oh my gosh, my wife like introduced me to like seasoning, and I'm just like,
opened your world, God. Huh? This culinary world of taste.
Have you guys seen Atlanta?
Yeah.
Have you seen the episode where he gets the lemon pepper and he's like, it's lemon pepper wet? And like they go to the Wingstop and like they're talking about like the lemon pepper seasoning, and he's like, it's lemon pepper wet, and he goes to open up the container. He's like, bro, don't open that in here. Don't open that in here. And then like he slowly opens it, and on Pulp Fiction where like it makes their face glow gold. He opens it and his face like glows gold, and he's like, no, you can't open that in here. Don't tell anybody you got that in here. And then like the scene ends with him saying, lemon pepper wet.
That's such a good show, man.
Hey guys, we just want to say thanks for listening, and remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you have any questions, you can always DM us on Instagram at Off the Reservation Podcast.
And maybe we'll answer it on a future episode.
Now on with the show. Just like how your wife introduced you to spices, my wife was like, hey, let's try this lemon, lemon seasoning or something like that. And she put it on chicken, and I was like, I didn't know chicken could taste like this. I just thought it could taste salty and more salty. Like, she was like, no, you throw some stuff in it. And I was like, so then after that, because for some reason we still have all the spices in the house. There's like paprika and
I bought those. When I cooked there that one time, I brought all of that over.
There's like sage and all this other stuff in there. And so it's like this big, huge, like Lazy Susan with packed with like seasonings, but nobody's ever used them. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like I'm a hungry person, so I like to watch the food reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I see this guy, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make a steak, and he's like basting it with butter and sage that he's put on, and rosemary, and I'm like, man, that looks pretty good. And so like I get home and I go to Albertsons, get like a steak and put it in there and start basting it, and then pretty soon I like put it on cayenne pepper and salt and pepper and everything else, and then all of a sudden I like serve it up, and everyone's like, that's pretty good. What's that smell? And I'm like, oh, you're smelling the what is it, the rosemary that's coming off of it. And they're like, rosemary?
Wow.
You cooked with rosemary?
Where
did you get it? And I'm like, it's all in the cabinet. Nobody ever uses it.
Guys, that top shelf in the cabinet, some crazy stuff in there, man.
And then I was like, wait, so are these the same cloves that they put in clove cigarettes? And I'm like, man, maybe I can make your own smokes. I'm like, am I 13 again?
Man, when I worked at this bar, this old hippie would come in with his like hand rolled cigarettes, and he would soak them in like clove oil, and like he'd try to hand them out, and like I like remember looking at this thing and like, man, there's like probably PCP in this. I'm not smoking this, bro.
Yeah, sorry, man. It's gonna be a pass, hard pass. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay, so I guess back to what this episode was supposed to be about was like Albuquerque, like the crazy things that like, not necessarily crazy things, but like the things that like are particular to Albuquerque that we feel like are Albuquerque.
Yeah, I guess you could think about this. If someone was coming to town and you were like, hey, you got to see this, or I got to tell you about this, what would you tell them?
Or like, watch out for this dude.
Oh, yeah.
And
what would be on that list?
Like, I think the thing that like I've heard people who like, because I went to UNM and met a lot of foreign exchange students, they were like, who's that guy that wanders around Central with no shirt on, and he's like wearing Daisy Dukes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that guy, he's pretty cool. Like I've never actually like.
His name is Elliot.
and he makes those pants himself. What he does is he buys the $5 Wranglers from Walmart.
Chops them off.
You got to buy him 2 sizes too small.
And like, I mean, well, like that guy, I've heard him called like many different names. And this one guy I had met, I was like, you know, like I was like, obviously, like I was kind of like, dude, that guy's weird, you know, I don't know. And he was like, dude, he's a professor here at UNM. And I was like, no way. And he was like, yeah, I took his class. He's a holistic or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was on PBS.
Yeah, and he was like always on TV. He was on public access for a minute.
Yeah, and I don't exactly know what he was talking about. I thought somebody had said like he had talked about the benefits of, I don't know, holistic living or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, he's pretty cool, and I feel like that he's like a standard or like the idea of like him, because he always like they're like micro shorts.
Yeah. No, if you were to drive down Central Avenue on Saturday afternoon, you would probably see this guy, and you could not miss be like, wow.
Oh, because he was always holding signs too. Like
he's always holding signs, or and it's just like, my goodness, man.
And he's got a lot of exposed flesh, you know.
Yeah, well, the guy is so tan, you know.
Yeah, he's super
like darker
incredible.
than us.
Yeah, no, really. He reminds me of Kramer from that episode where he starts to use butter. And he's like basting himself up there on the roof. it's that level of tan.
Yeah.
See, I think Albuquerque has always been one of those places where you kind of just park your car and then just go wander, because there's so many cool shops on Central.
Yeah.
Right. And just like mixing
depend
in
on time of day.
Yeah. Like, you know, and then just mixing in with people and just kind of people watching and just random stuff. I mean, it's a pretty cool location. Don't get me wrong. It has its moments where it's a little dangerous.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
but that's part of its charm, I think.
Yeah.
Like I remember everyone talking about like our bus system and how like scary it was, and I was like, it's not that bad, you know, like our bus system, because I'd have to ride it from like kind of the northeast area down to UNM, and everyone was like, oh, like I have cousins and sisters who are like, oh yeah, you know, I don't like going on there, and I'm like, see, your problem is you're not carrying a giant knife on your hip 24/7. Like you carry a giant knife on your hip and you use your Indian stare, your native stare, you know, the one we all hear about in smoke signals. You gotta like look at mean at everyone, and then on top of that, I had my own homemade hood, so I'd put on my hood and I'd be riding a skateboard, like a metal skateboard, all decked out and like looking like I'm a
You were the guy other people were afraid of. The guy with a giant Bowie knife on his hip.
Like I look like a discount
cut my
ninja.
head off with that skateboard.
Yeah, I look like a discount ninja riding the bus, and
Yeah, whenever I used to ride the bus, because I used to just ride the green line that would go all the way down, and I would have to I would just be like, you get on the bus and you zone in on a fixed point.
It's like urinal rules.
Yeah.
Just like
You got blinders on. You don't look side to side, you know.
Yeah.
And you just gotta zone them out. You know what I mean? And you know,
because you never know, there might be a couple next to you like making out. And
well, like at the same time, that's like the street rules. Like the minute you make eye contact with somebody, like they're gonna come up to you and talk.
They're gonna try to be friends with you.
Yeah, and like. I don't know.
Well, I can't imagine being a girl and riding the bus.
Oh yeah,
it's like you just look pretty, and all of a sudden, some dude's trying to talk to you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was pretty back in the day.
I was a little pretty.
You know, that's what worried me so much. You know, it's just I look too good. You know, shouldn't be riding the bus. I look too good.
No, nobody wanted to talk to me in my ninja outfit.
Do you guys remember Putt Putt? We used to have this local
Putt Putt.
Little miniature golf, man. They had like the.
Are you talking about the one on San Mateo?
Yeah, the one that's it's a boneyard now, man. They are gone. You know, they're out. Putt Putt's gone, but like the remnants. This place, it was a cool miniature golf place when we were kids. This is where like it was cool to go to before. Well, I don't know, before Hinkle.
And see, I was always jealous because I felt like our family didn't like like we didn't exactly have the funds to be able to go to putt-putt. I mean,
well, it was cool when you went, you know. Yeah. Well, that's what I say. It was always a treat, you know. But they had like these, and you know it because when you're driving down the road, you'd see putt-putt, the sign, and then just they had this big gated like area outside, and it had like all of these like zoo animal like statues in there. You know, like there was like legit a giraffe, like a full-size giraffe statue in there.
And I always wanted to go.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm striking a nerve here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Putt-putt's a good place.
Putt-putt's good.
Or Cliffs, you know.
Cliffs.
I used to go to the amusement park. I used to want to work there. I wanted that to be one of my first jobs, but then I thought I don't want to be responsible for someone making, sir, can you make sure that seatbelt's tightened? You know? Which
is funny because you have like these moderately dangerous rides.
Yeah.
And you expect like a 16-year-old to have like
I think they were hiring when like kids were 15, you know?
Yeah, like you expect to like have like all right,
responsible enough
16-year-old, 14-year-old, I am entrusting you with my life and limb. Make sure that you lock all the seats down, please. You know.
Hey, maybe that was the style. You know, maybe that was the reason. You know, it's like if we get young kids in here, people are going to take the rules seriously because they're going to be like, "Man, these kids might not be taking these rules seriously. Maybe I should buckle up for my own safety."
Well, you remember that ride that was just like one big swing and it spun you in circles?
Yeah.
And the thing is they had it right over that waterway, and so like you'd be going up and you'd be going like really high into the air, spinning, and then you'd be like passing over that water canal that led to the log ride, and so then you would see people go, oh no, and they'd like drop their phone or their sunglasses, or you see flip flops go flying off. Yeah. I lost a hat to that place.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's always a bummer.
But I mean that's traditional Cliffs. You know, you aren't having fun unless you lose something.
Yeah, unless you lose something or you get sick.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool when they brought the roller coaster in. That was like the first
Rattler.
Yeah. And even
you know, I've always like had that idea that like Albuquerque is right for like Six Flags to like move in here. Like it would be so cool if we had like a major theme park like that.
I feel like we got space for it. Like,
well, you know why that's so real is because everyone, like people, still can't get over the fact that we lost the beach water park.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like people, that. Like it got replaced with Topgolf, and people are like, "Nah, I still miss the beach, man. The beach was the place."
The beach for 20 years, man.
Yeah.
And you know, the lazy river, all the water slides. Like I was too little to be able to go down the water slides, but I mean, I wish I had. You know.
Oh man, those like giant water. You went on those, right? Have you ever been on those?
On the water slide?
Yeah, the giant ones, the tower. Man, you like the freakiest thing is once you hit that top part and you actually start. There's like a moment of time where you're just like. You're not even on. You're not even on the slide. It freaks you out because you're like, oh, I'm gonna fall out, you know. And it's like you see the whole city. It was cool because you could see that whole like down. It was facing downtown, so you could see the whole downtown city from up there.
You're all gonna die in front of the city,
screaming, going, yeah. Oh man, that was legit. Not a lot of places have like water parks, you know, especially a smaller city like us. So that was kind of a cool thing.
That was cool, but
I mean, you can't do that now, so. You know,
I mean, we're in a constant drought.
Topgolf, I guess.
Let's go Topgolf.
Yeah.
Spray you with a hose. While you golf.
There you go.
Yeah, man. But the cool thing about Albuquerque, I think, is that we're like right there next to mountains. You know? And it's like it's a 45-minute drive to get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Like
it's super easy, super simple. And I think you know. Okay, so the fact that it's Albuquerque and everything, like going to the mountain and everything, is like there was a point in time when I was like, oh, I'm going to go up to the mountain, you know, I'm going to be an adult. I'm going to go and do something on my own, you know, do grown-up things up in the mountains. And so I like, it sounds way worse than I meant. But I'm going to exercise my independence.
What do you think adults are doing in the mountains now?
In a cabin.
I was just following that Shia LaBeouf song. Shia LaBeouf. Sorry. But yeah, so I go and I'm walking into the woods and I'm like wandering around by myself, and I'm like, go to the
in a cabin writing angry letters to the government.
No, well, I went to go visit. I went to visit that stone cabin up there on the on the mountain, and everyone knows that it's there. If you're local, you know that it's there. And so like I wandered up there, and I'm like looking off the edge of the mountain and everything, and I'm like, man, if I fell off, nobody would know I fell off. And so I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I've been up here long enough. I'm gonna go back down. So I start trying to like wander back to my car, and then all of a sudden I realize I'm lost in the woods.
Oh no!
And I started panicking. You know, like that panic of like, all right, I don't know how to get home, and I felt like a little kid all over again. Like, oh man. And so then I had to like stop and start using my rational brain, because my actual like human brain was beginning to panic. And then all of a sudden and then I realized I just walked down in one direction. Eventually I'm gonna hit a road or something, and then I can find my way back from there. Like, quit being an idiot. And so yeah, that's what I ended up doing. And
did you learn how to read trails yet?
No, I just walked down.
Okay, I'm starting on this trail here. When I get to the end, then I'll know I need to go down this path again.
Well, I mean, I just started walking, and eventually, like, I don't know how, but miraculously, I like popped out right next to my car, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Going through some bushes, and you're like, "Oh, hey, there it is."
Yeah, that's how you find yourself.
What's nice about the top of the mountain, and when you go to that rock house, is like you can just literally just follow the edge of the mountain all the way back to the parking lots up there, unless you didn't park in the parking lots. Well, now you know. That's what adults do, Mel.
That's what adults do in the forest.
Oh my gosh, me and my wife were hiking around the foothills one time back when Cody was with us.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you know, in the foothills, some of these boulders are like 2 stories tall. So like we're walking in between these boulders, and then I like took 2 steps, and all I heard was, and I'd look, and I turned around, and I looked, and I was like, "Do you hear that?" And she goes, "No." And so I took 2 more steps, and it went, and I was like, "Okay, you heard that, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden, like, Cody like looked up and was like just looking like at the top of the rocks, and I was like, "Go!" And like we just took off running down the hill, and like yeah, like I guarantee it was like a mountain lion, like. Because
are you sure it wasn't just a cougar?
It could have been a cougar.
Could have been a cougar.
There's cougar sightings.
Bigfoot could have been Bigfoot.
Sasquatch.
Bigfoot's living up in the foothills.
You think it could have been Squanto?
It's creepy, man. When you're in the mountain and you get that eerie feeling that something's watching you.
Could be Squanto.
Could be those cougars. But like. But like you really do. You get that sense, and like something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like the wind gets quiet, and you just like you don't hear anything, and then all of a sudden you hear like a twig, you know, real loud. You're like, you look around, you're like, okay, it's time to go. Let's head back down. Everybody make as much noise as you can. It's like, if you can, put your jacket up over you.
Make yourself bigger.
Bear
please.
Safety 101. No.
Like, man, I grew up in the city. I'm not prepared for fighting off cougars and mountain lions. Like that's not me.
I remember they always, you know, they used to say, you know, you want to make as much noise as you can. You want to try to make yourself as big as you can. You know, it's like I was always like, okay, if I was with someone, I'm gonna put them on my shoulders.
Yeah. Well, dude, you're already 6 foot tall. How much bigger do you need to be?
I don't know, man.
Jerk.
Have you ever seen a cougar?
I mean, I live in the city. They're all over the place.
You ever seen a cougar during a drought? They're hungry, man. Oh, man. Hey, Albuquerque's got a lot of great places.
Yeah, Albuquerque's got a lot of
and
good stuff.
We didn't even get to talk about the food.
I thought we talked about burritos.
Well, we did. Okay, that's really all we really need to talk about, right? No, burgers. We could talk about burgers.
Green chili enchiladas.
Yeah.
Just start naming foods. That'll be a great podcast.
See, like I think any place I've ever eaten, like the New Mexican food is okay, but it's like when I go to like a friend's house and like their mom or their grandma's cooking is when like the food is like you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best like Mexican.
Well, have you guys ever been to El Bruno's?
We don't talk about him.
We don't talk about El Bruno's here, but They've got some really great food. No, they really do have some good food though. Like I was surprised because I'm like you. I'm like, you know, and it's weird. So I don't order enchilada. I don't order stuff that like you said, like people that you know, their friends, their parents make, because I feel like I've just had so much better than at a restaurant. Yeah. You know, so like I don't really order enchiladas. I don't order I don't know. I guess it's really the biggest one. That's the most egregious one, I think, because like you order it in a restaurant, it's like you could tell it was like frozen. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, this isn't good at all. But like I love like a good stuffed sopapilla, you know, or you know, like a fajita plate, you know, it's tasty. But like, yeah. But El Bruno's is good. If you guys never tried it, you should try it. It's pretty good, and they've got some good stuff.
Do I have to dress special over there?
Yeah, you know, the actual like the actual casa there is kind of it's magical, so you gotta be on a list. No, there's no dress code at El Bruno's. Just make sure you wear pants, I think.
I think that's like something that's iconic with Albuquerque and New Mexico in general. Is like I went to Michigan with my wife and her family, and like her family was like, oh, we're gonna go have like a lunch thing, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so for me, like I was like, oh, and they were like, you should dress up, and I was like, all right, cool. So I got on like one of my nicest button up like shirts, and like I wore like nice cleaner jeans than usual, and like I show up in my t-shirt and like my pants and like my tennis shoes and everything, and they're like, Mal, we told you to dress up, and I'm like, my shirt has buttons on it. How much more dressed up do you want me to be?
Yeah, I tucked it in.
And I was like, I don't even get this from like this is the stuff I wear when I go to like that Brazilian restaurant downtown. Like this is my nice clothes. I would have gone to prom in these clothes if I could have. Like, they're like, no, Mal, those aren't dress clothes. And I'm like, well, I feel extremely underdressed and slightly judged now.
You're like, I don't think I packed for this.
Like, this is this kind of stuff I wear to an art show to look nice. Like, these are my nicest clothes I got.
It's kind of weird. As I've gotten older, like, my idea of dress clothes is, like, changed. Like, for some people, dress clothes are, like, oh, a suit and a tie. Mine is, like, my dopest, like, Jordan outfit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
your tracksuit?
Yeah, like, just whatever, you know what I mean? It's like that's dress clothes to me now.
And I feel like that might be even part of like being an artist, because like if you think about it, like when we go to art shows and everything, like people dress nice, but they're not like out there wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah.
And for me, like growing up in that realm, like dressing up wasn't like wearing, you know, suit and tie. It was your nicest pair of jeans. You might wear dress shoes, like or your cowboy boots, and at that point, you know, you're dressed up. Once you put on your cowboy boots, you're pretty darn fancy.
You're there,
yeah. And I didn't realize that there was such a huge schism between, you know, North and South.
Between like New Mexico dressed up and like the rest of
it's like that Southwest.
Well, I think about like every
Southwest
time
swag.
We have that we go to Indian market, there's that guy that has the giant plates of turquoise.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that dude's pretty darn dressed up. Like, he'd go to the Oscars wearing that kind of a thing. And,
yeah.
But I feel like they would all look down on him.
Yeah.
Like, look at this joker wearing his $1,000 worth of turquoise all over his place.
Yeah, I just need to put on a bolo tie.
Yeah, you know? Bolo tie. You're set.
Bolo tie and a hat. No one's gonna say nothing to you.
Wear your nicest polo shirt.
Yeah.
With a bolo tie.
Oh man. All right, guys.
Classic New Mexico church. Bolo ties and bolo shirts.
Well, guys, I think it's about that time. It's about that time. Yeah, get a little closer here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring it on in. Let's just bring it on in.
We're here to say this is Off the Reservation Podcast.
Yeah, Off the Reservation Podcast.
You guys have a good week out there, all right?
Stay safe. Stay safe. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And watch out for the man.
And cougars.
And then cougars. And Squanto.
We'll see you guys.